For 3.1, I read the patch notes. I'm still going to play Cold Dot, and for those of you that want to start with the Cold Dot, this video will be very helpful. And for those of you that are not familiar with Cold Dot, I'm just going to give you an example. Now, keep in mind that this build right here, it's min-maxed. I will first give you a demonstration, and then I will explain what are the changes and stuff like that. Mm.
When I'm ready, and not before.
So basically, that was the map showcase. Um, Once again, the build is min-maxed. As you can see, there's a mage blood, all the cool shit. What happened in this? So from what I read in the patch notes, one of the things that is going to be very annoying is going to be this removal of the mastery curses on your enemies in your chilling areas have 15% increase effect. This is going to be very huge, and also you are going to lose 4% chance to super spell damage. You can still get cap suppression, but it's going to be much harder. Um, Other than that, the clarity one doesn't affect us. I don't take it anyway. Um, Basically, the build lost a little bit of damage, but not by much. Also, you lose the 42% increased spell damage on your wand. Um, the curse effect is huge. Maybe there are some noticeable changes that I'm not aware of, but basically a little bit of spell suppression, which you can definitely work on. As you can see on my gloves, even though the build is min-max and has 100% spell suppression, it doesn't have the best tire of spell suppression on my gloves, nor it has on my helmet. So there are ways to work around it. You can still definitely get it capped. Right now I'm sitting at about probably 15 to 20 million shaper DPS. Um, but we are also next league. We are also losing the relics. So I don't know if on average we are going to deal much less damage, or we are going uh, to do more because you are going to craft better wands and shields. Anyway, that being said, let's explain to you how the build works. You can use Flame Dash instead of Frostblink. Um, Probably we are going to drop the Arcane Surge because now it gives cast speed. It no longer gives the buff with damage. So that's one thing. So we are going to have one more link. Um, Then you have Frostbite as a curse. Then you run Temporal Chains with Blasphemy. Um, Basically, um, Blasphemy makes enemy explode, and you should definitely run it as an aura. For bossing, you are dropping it, you don't run it, but for general mapping, as you can see, the monsters here,
When I'm
are
ready
being
and
affected
not
by a curse,
before.
and because they are affected by a curse, when they die, there's a chance that they will explode and deal damage. And this helps with the clear speed. So this is very important. You have to keep in mind to use blasphemy with uh, any curse. In my case, it's going to be temporal chains because I have a lot of damage and I don't need like frostbite or elemental weakness to be used with the blasphemy. And the temporal chains makes it so that they don't hit you at all. So that's one thing. Then we are using Awakened Blasphemy support and Divergent Clarity. Obviously, you can use Blasphemy support and Clarity in the beginning of the league. You don't really have to do that. You don't have to go for the Awakened and the Divergent Clarity. This is more like a min-max. Then we have Shield Charge, Mortal Shell, Faster Attacks, Vitality. Here we have in the gloves, which are crafted with socketed gems deal more damage over time. I will leave a link in the description with videos um, where you understand how to craft these items. I'm not going to sit here and explain, just I want to show the build for those of you that are interested. Uh, so in these gloves, um, we put the Volt Cold Snap, with Awakened Elemental Focus, Bone Chill, and Control Distraction. On my main gem, it's going to be Empower with Vortex, Creeping Frost, Awakened Elemental Focus, Swift Affliction, and Control Distraction. The reason why we have Creeping Frost um, is because this spell deals a lot of damage. So this spell right here, it's mainly used for much difficult enemies and for bosses. um, Basically has much more damage. It has the same damage or a bit more than Vortex. So that's pretty nice. One of the thing is this build will have some issues with mana. Um, in the beginning, um, I go over my flasks and my and this is with a mage blood, reduce mana cost of skills and increase effect makes it so that I don't run into mana problems. Um, but before you get the mage blood, you are going to have a little bit of trouble with mana. As for the other flask, is going to be quartz, granite, and basalt. Maybe you can replace the basalt with silver flask or a jade flask if you already have onslaught on your boots. I actually don't know if we are going to still have this craft. Actually, I didn't pay attention to it. But if we still have the craft of with the onslaught, and the silver flask is still in the game, then we are fine. We are good to go. Um, Once again, I will leave the POB and a video with how to craft these items. Now, continue with the gems. Elemental weakness, which are you are going to cast, Defiance Banner, and the Malevolence and the Determination here. So basically, you only cast Frostbite and Elemental weakness, and you have Temporal Chains all the time. For bosses, what you do. Actually, I don't even know where my gems are. You have the purities here, right? So for bosses, you just replace the blasphemy and the temporal chains. You can swap it with punishment, um, and you put a purity. Like for example, you put purity of fire or purity of ice, depending on what encounter you do in the late game, because this also gives you additional fire resistance. And if you were to put it here and check this, it would give you another 5% maximum fire resistance. This is just a min-maxing thing, and this is just for bossing only. So you drop the blasphemy and you self-cast the third curse and use another aura. In my case, it's going to be a purity, depending on what boss I'm farming. For example, if I'm farming Maven, I'm going to use purity of ice. If I'm farming Eater of Worlds, I'm going to use purity of lightning, and so on. what are the pros and cons of this build? Okay, so it's going to be very good to start with. It gives you access to early currency strategies. In my case, it's going to be logbooks because this is what this build excels at, and logbooks are also very profitable early in the league. Um, Other than that, the build is very fun to play, even though you press a lot of buttons. Like I use all of these buttons right here. Um, the build it's super fun. It's quite fast. It's not the fastest build, but it's quite fast to play. It's easy to level up. Um, Once again, it's good for league start because you don't really need much gear, and because of and now I want to show you why you don't need much gear. So uh, this is my character. Um,
Hello.
it's level 93, but as you can see, I'm missing 9 passive skill points. Um, let's just search for a logbook real quick. So right here. Um, the items right here that you see um, are items that can be bought with less than 1 divine, pretty easy to obtain. Um, the tree um, is for level 82 or 83, something like that. Um, but uh, it can run logbooks just fine. It can do Voranas. The only thing is you are going to look at the modifiers. Um, and keep in mind that this is a level 83 logbook, which usually you are
This
not going
logbook
to
has some fairly
have
detailed discussion
such a
of
bad
Uhtred's declaration that
such
virtue
a bad gear by the time you do level 83 logbooks, just because they are not on the market. So most of the time you are going to be stuck with
When I'm
very
ready and not before.
low level logbooks because they are not available elsewhere. Now, how you would do a logbook with this build? Right now I'm not going to pay attention to every modifier, um, but basically you'd look at the modifiers and pay attention on what you can do or what you cannot do. Um, like for example, this right here, I would not take the ignite, I would not take poison, I would not take bleed. If I have poison bleed, I just keep them. Um, Cast speed can be, you can do cast speed, but if you have a boss, you don't do cast speed because you're most likely going to ruin it. The regenerate you can do, there's no issue with it, um, because of the ascendancy. Penetrate lightning resistance maybe. Anyway, so I wasted all the remnants. Um, right now I check the modifiers here. If I see something that I cannot do, like for example poison, ignite, bleed, I just simply don't do them. And this was super bad. Um, I guess I didn't have any aura activated. That's what happened there. Um, but anyway, this build can definitely do logbooks. I've done many times with it. And one thing that you may want to use is going to be using temporal chains. It's very good in now this logbook is kind of scuffed because now I have to follow like this. I should have been able to keep up with every pack, but because I died, too many mobs spawned. And also I have the cast speed modifiers, uh, which is not a good idea uh, to put modifiers on your logbook that you cannot run. Anyway, I'm not gonna sit and finish all the logbook. Um, the build definitely can do it, but once again, I didn't pay attention. Like for example, I'm cursed with enfeeble. I have increased monster attack speed, cast speed. Um, they have endurance charge and all that. So um, I didn't pay attention when running this logbook, but on a league start scenario, you definitely want to pay attention. But just for the sake of the video, I ran this logbook. Also, I have another increased movement speed, cast speed. Monsters deal increased damage is not really that big of an issue, but the increased cast speed and movement speed is definitely a big issue. So instead of using punishment, you can drop and put temporal chains just for
When
logbooks.
I'm
It's
ready,
going to be
and
very
not
good.
before.
Um, Once again, the logbook that I ran was item level 83. Um, in a in a league start scenario, you'd have much better gear than this, probably even more levels by the time you run item level 83 logbooks, just because they're not available on the market. Now I'll show you the links and what items I have on this build, and then I will probably end the video and leave you all the other links regarding to the POB. And for the leveling, it's going to search for Balar. I'm also leaving in the description Balar called DoT, and this guy will give you a very decent leveling guide. Now I have the gems. I have Flame Dash with Arcane Surge. Probably will drop Arcane Surge because now it only gives you cast speed, Malevolence, and Awaken Blasphemy, Determination, Punishment. Here the same 6 links, except you have Inspiration, not Empower. The same links here on my gloves. Shield Charge, Molten Shell, Faster Attacks, Vitality, Elemental Weakness, Clarity, Frostbite, Punishment, Determination, and Blasphemy. Um, so one of the things that you could do is just give up on your punishment and run temporal chains linked to blasphemy, and then you just cast your frostbite and elemental weakness. As for the items, this is what you can expect to buy with just a few chaos, uh, a couple of hours into the league. Nothing crazy. These gloves, you just drop an essence of delirium, I guess. Here um, you just buy one helmet with. Actually, no, I think this helmet is pretty good. Yeah, this helmet is pretty good. But basically, what you care about here, you don't care about the chance to super spell damage that you see right here on this helmet. Um, you care about the implicit 9% increased mana reservation and efficiency of skills. You buy a helmet like that, and then you throw an essence of deafening essence of loading, I guess. That gives you another 10% efficiency of skills. Uh, this helmet is very good, but you don't really care about that because um, you don't care about spell suppression this early in the league. Just basic resistance rings, tabula rasa. This amulet just stats and life. That's it. This shield right here, just energy shield or life and some resistances, nothing much. These boots just some resistances, movement speed, maybe some life, and the same goes for the belt. Some strength, maybe some resistances, some life. And for the flasks, quicksilver, quartz, jade, and granite. These are the flasks. Now, once again, I've done Vorana Deathless, but basically what you need to do um, is you have to pay attention to the modifiers you put on your logbooks and also on your remnants. Now, in my case, I didn't pay attention and I couldn't be bothered to change the cast speed
When I'm ready,
modifier.
and not
You have
before.
to look out for poison modifiers, ignites, bleeds, damage over times, all of that. They can kill you very easily. And also, I didn't change it, but basically punishment is bad for logbooks and temporal chains is much better. This is how the tree looks like. I also will leave a path of building in the description. This is how the tree looks like. There are definitely going to be some minor changes with and also I don't even have the third curse right here. Like this is a bit scuffed. I don't even have the third curse. Uh, so yeah, but this is the tree. This is how it looks like, and the one thing that you will have to pay a bit more, maybe 50 to 60 kills, is going to be the glorious vanity, and that's pretty much it. No other unique, and this is the tree. Um, yeah, I hope you liked the build. It's not going to for leveling, as I said, it's going to be the Balar video. You can just follow that, it's good enough, and then with 2030 regrets, maybe even less, you can swap to this version of the tree, run logbooks, and make money. Endless heist is no longer a thing, they removed that. So, good luck in next league.